Konnichiwa, motherfuckers! Welcome back to the channel again. This is none other than Sugi Shogun here, continuing with this anime from winter 2021. And this time we're going to be focusing on a bit of a dark horse. Something of a gem that was overlooked by many, and that is none other than Kemono Jihen. Now, some people are literally pronouncing it wrong, like Kemono Jihen. No, it is Kemono Jihen. Now, and this means basically kemono can be translated into a monster or beast, and jihen basically means something like of an incident or emergency. So basically, the name would be something between the lines of a monster incident or beast incident or beast emergency, which kind of tells you about a bit of the setting of this story because it revolves around a detective known as Inugami who has these kids who are basically orphans who are specializing in the occult and doing investigations on these so-called kemono incidents. And these are, basically creatures that are derived from the Japanese folklore character. I mean, you have your vampires and, kitsunes and, you have your, everything type of, folklore related to Japan and some other folklores around the world. And basically the humans are not really exactly aware that there are these beasts living alongside them because they have their human forms, so to speak. And basically Inugami and the kids are, revolving around investigating on, these incidents that happen around Tokyo. Now, the pilot episode kind of introduces the main character, which is called Kabane. And Kabane is this sort of a kid who has basically not really lost his memory, but he doesn't know his parents. So he's an orphan. Pretty much all the trio of the characters are orphans of sorts. And basically, he is like they're in the countryside and then they're kind of like trying to figure out like what's wrong with here, what's just killing the animals. And, then one thing leads to another, and Kabane joins up with Inugami, and then there's the other two kids, Shiki and Akira, which is a bit of a cross-dresser of sorts, I guess. I mean, this is a boy, but pretends to be very girlish. But not like a gay character of sorts. I actually don't know. It doesn't show at any point to have any type of a female attraction there at any point. But interesting cross-dresser character. We could call it a LGBT character, whatever. And it's just like the 12-episode series goes through of them like solving these cases. There's a couple of character arcs for Shiki and Akira in the latter half, like the last 4 or 5 episodes of the season are dedicated to those two. And then it kind of also like broadens up a bit of the world and a bit of the history behind it. I don't think it's as like tailored or crafted world as like something like Jujutsu Kaisen or the Demon Slayer or some other yokai-based, Nurarion no Mago comes into my mind, or Kekaishi. There has been many yokai-based anime out there in the past, and to be honest, I never get really old of it because there's so many variations of the, Japanese folklore to be explored. You can be more occult about it, you can be more shonen about it, and you can be somewhere between, and you can have even these mixtures of like, there are fun, elements of comedy there, mystery, shonen, but then again, it gets pretty bloody at times. People get decapitated and there's blood going around. Even though there are like kids involved, it's like, there's brutality in it. And it's a bit more episodic type of a storytelling when you really think about it, and maybe down the line it gets more into this like overarching storyline. It maybe also lacks a bit of a proper villain in the series. You kind of have this sort of a, female character, which called Inari, which is more of a, I think the term is of an anti-villain of sorts. I mean, not exactly a villain, but not exactly a good guy. It's somewhere in the, gray ground. But I thought it was, a bit more interesting type of a series. Yes, it has certain like anime cliches there, but it doesn't like go through moe, type of approach here. I think it's really more down the line, like focusing on the character relationships between each other. It's more like a coming of an age story, really, when you think about it, because it's all about like these three, children, and then there's a fourth one that also comes around later. And it's kind of like more about their character development with each other and growing up as children and learning about these things, what it's become, what is okay to do and what is bad to do, and did I hurt his feelings and things like this. So, there's like a element of, kids growing up, and it's like a coming of age story looking from different perspectives. And that's where a large part of the character development happens for this series. I think it's well animated by Ajia-Do, and I think I pronounced that actually wrong there, but whatever. And it's like, musically, I wasn't really sold on the OST here. I didn't like the opening. I think I got really irritated by it, but the ending was okay. Ending was okay, guys, but opening, I couldn't get around that. Now, overall, I would recommend checking out if you're into shonen. It's a bit different. It's not super action heavy. I mean, there's action almost on every episode, but it's not like, your typical shonen type of a series by any stretch of imagination. But it does have a lot of, something appeals, and, the character designs are very cool. The clothing and everything makes them look different from each other. And that's something I think is one of the high ends of this series, in my opinion, that it's the characters do look unique and different from each other. You have a lot of good shows that have good concepts, but the character designs are very bland, and sometimes you mistake a character from another. But overall, I enjoyed it. Was it the best of the season? Hard to say, but I think it was one of the better ones, and I think it will get better as the story goes on, but not sure what is the arc's going to be in the next seasons. And there's obviously going to be a continuation to this in case it's going to be selling well enough in Japan. At least the ratings are good enough now. But that is a bit of my rundown. No extra things to add. Obviously, subscribe, like, you know what to do. Leave your comments below what you thought about the series in case you have seen it. And in case you haven't, at least give it a couple of episodes a shot. I think the pilot was actually pretty good, selling you the point what the anime was about and why you should basically watch it. But I mean, the first episode is not very detective heavy in a way. But, okay, whatever. It's not. I wouldn't necessarily also call it a detective show. I mean, it has a lot more to do with that. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you soon.